Okay, so today's video is going to be on SEO and specifically organic SEO traffic driven by articles. Okay, so if you don't already know, this is basically what I do for a living. So this is my form of copywriting, is that I write articles that go on websites for businesses and then these articles then rank. Okay, so in today's video, I'm going to be outlining exactly how to write a good SEO article. And I'm going to take one that I've written and I'm going to break down each point and show you exactly why I've written each thing and why it helps with the ranking. So hope you enjoy. So if you pull up Google right now and you type in, will there be one world currency? This feature snippet will come up with this article. So you click on this. Here's the article. And then as you can see at the bottom, it's written by me. So I'm going to break down exactly what I did to make this article rank and all the things that you need to have in a good article to make it rank on Google. Okay, so if you see here, this is the Google Doc that I wrote. So the company is called Currency Transfer. They're a great client of mine. They're brilliant. I really like working with them. And basically, I wrote this article last year for them, and it's been doing really well in the rankings. First things first, you need to outline the search intent. So here's a small part on search intent. Okay, so search intent is pretty simple. Once I explain it, you'll get it. Essentially, search intent is just what people are searching for in Google. So, for example, if you are searching for a cake recipe, your search intent is to find the recipe of that cake, right? That's what you've entered the search for. That's what you're looking for. You're not interested in anything else. You just want to find the information as quickly as possible. Now, search intent applies for basically all searches. So anytime you Google anything, you're looking for an answer. You're looking for something to just, as quickly as possible, answer your question. And this is basically the basis of a good article, is one that will answer exactly what the search intent is. Okay, so for example, the one that I've used, one world currency, people are googling, will there be one world currency? Because imagine they're sitting somewhere one day, or they're writing an essay, or they're having conversation with someone, and they wonder, oh, is there ever going to be one currency for the whole world? And they Google it and they want to find it quickly. They're not interested in some long description about how currencies work. They're looking for an exact answer to their question. And your article needs to be exactly the response that they need. It needs to be basically everything that they could need in order to answer that question. Okay, so coming back to the article now, the search intent here is basically going to be answering, okay, is there going to be one world currency? Is there going to be one currency that the world is going to use? So I came up with this article idea because, as you might guess, Currency Transfer is a currency exchange service, okay? So they do currency FX, stuff like that. So an article about whether there's going to be one world currency is going to be identified. So this website is going to be identified by Google as being an authority on currency. So it's likely that this article is going to do well because Google is going to say, okay, if this article is well written and it's done by a professional brand that's answering this question, it's gonna rank top. First things first, your introduction is very important when you're writing an SEO article, okay? So you can just pause the video and give it a read. So what you need to do is you need to have a featured snippet. And if you don't know what a featured snippet is, it's this, okay? This has shown up on Google. So Google has identified this to be answering this query exactly, okay? So you need to have paragraphs in the first section that are gonna basically be featured snippets. So I actually thought that it was gonna pick, this one, but it actually picked the one above it. So Google has determined this to be answering the right question. So as you can see here, I basically answered the question in a couple of paragraphs. Okay, I said that a world currency could work in theory, but there's several blockers is kind of an answer. And also the US dollar already kind of exists as a world currency is another answer to it. And then I have a little bit of information about the history here, and then I'll go into a sort of introduction into the article, okay, so sort of tempt the reader, okay, like, oh, there's maybe more information that you're going to need to know here. So the way I like to write articles is that I like to have it to be chronological, okay? Because when you read a story, or imagine someone's telling you a story, you want to know, you want to hear it in a chronological way, okay? You don't want them to start at the end or the middle and then move around. And people that are bad at telling stories is they never go chronologically. They go, oh yeah, and then this happened, or before that and that and that. So that's often what bad writing is, okay? You should start chronologically when you write an article. So start from the very beginning, or the basis, or like the actual, just the most base level. If I'm actually writing a history article, I'll literally start the first event that's ever happened. So the first thing I started is just the difficulty. Why there isn't a one world currency at the moment. But in your article, you want to make sure that the first title is heading 1 and called an H1, and then the second one down from this is an H2. This is very important. Just make sure you do it. And then anything within that is H3. And then when you go back to say then another point, it's H2 again. So you want to go H1, H2, 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 but then anything in between H3, H3, okay, within those sections. So just make sure you do it like that, because Google will notice that and it will rank. So when you see a website, these, if you say, look here, and then you inspect, and you can see here that it's H2, right? And then you can see here, and then you can see here that this is H3, okay? So this basically means that Google can then rank your article and determine that it's a good fit. It's well structured. The next thing you need, and I think is just very good for not only readability but also SEO, but everything in the article, is advantages and disadvantages. It's such an easy way to have more to write about, to have more to discuss. Is any topic you just think, okay, what are the good things about this? What are the bad things about this? It means that there's lots of SEO terms that are going to come up, and also it's just interesting to read. It's interesting to have different perspectives on things. So I always have, say, like advantages, disadvantages, and then all the reasons in between about it. Okay, and then the ending is also important, right? So you want to bring it back. You want to sort of like round off the article, okay? So here I've rounded off. There are no immediate plans for a world currency. I've discussed it, and then I've answered the final question, which is just no. there's not gonna be a world currency, essentially. And then I like to have a little bit of a vision to the future. So the same way that I start the article with a historical thing, or I start with a foundation or an underlying basis to the article, I will then have at the end a sort of view to the future. So I've got a bit here about El Salvador's introduction of Bitcoin, and maybe something about like I could have maybe put some other things in here about central bank digital currencies and things like that, like maybe sort of a view to reading or thinking about more, because that's a nice thing to do at the end of anything, is to say, here's some food for thought for future. And then obviously the point of the article is to generate leads and interest for the brand. So then I have a nice thing at the end, which is, for more currency news and insight into the ever-changing world of currency, make sure to stay up to date with our expert analysis and our market commentary. So basically it's just feeding people back into the website, getting people to use it more. So if you're ever writing for a brand, make sure they get an author bio in. And I did a Substack post about this recently, which you can see in the description. But basically, Google ranks articles if they have experience and expertise. So they need to be written by an expert, and that expert is you. Okay, and you need to tell these brands, I need a picture of myself, I need my name, and I need a bio about why I'm an expert on this. Okay, so it's important for not only the article and obviously your credibility as a copywriter, but it's actually important for SEO. Like Google will actually look for this in articles and actually rank for it. And actually, recently with a leak, they have revealed that they are keeping metrics on authors. They are actually tracking authors across the entirety of Google. So it's more important than ever that you have your name and your photo, or at least, or even just someone else's name and photo. If it doesn't have to be yours, it could be a marketing manager at the company, or even the client that you're working for. If you don't want to have yourself, you can have them as the author and just say that they wrote it. Okay, it's absolutely crucial. Your articles will do better with it on it. And it is a lot of trial and error. Like, you're not always going to get it right. Google has 14,000 ranking features that they determine whether somebody's going to rank or not. So sometimes you can do everything right and still it doesn't rank. But the best thing to do is just keep going, keep interlinking. So keep building articles that work together and link to each other, and eventually you're going to have an SEO win. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and let me know if you want to see more SEO content just like this.